Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's crammed out the wazoo with characters from every video game that was ever made except for Waluigi's Adventure and Waluigi 2 The Wrath of Khan. But everyone who's put over 700 hours into the games noticed that despite there being so much content from so many different franchises, Cloud's only barely in the game with nothing more than 2 songs and no extra spirits from the other Final Fantasy games. And the most common theory I find on the internet for the lack of Final Fantasy content's that Square-Enix is being stingy. But I'm willing to bet my uncle's ass that Square-Enix actually wishes they had more content in Smash Ultimate and that Nintendo's the one putting the kibosh on it. Why would the above average sized den do such a thing? Well, make yourself cozy, finish that horse milk that's been sitting on your dresser since 2018, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the tallest man in the world out of people who are 5'8", Cameron, to tell you why Nintendo probably hates Square Enix and Cloud Strife. First off, I'm just gonna call Square-Enix Square for convenience. If you want to fight me about that, then just meet me at these coordinates. Secondly, I don't know where some people are getting the idea that Square's the one being stingy with loaning more spirits and music out to Smash, because there's literally zero bad that comes from them doing so. And as I mentioned in my last video, I'm sure Nintendo pays for the third-party content in Smash, whether it be through sexual favors from Reggie, or money, I guess, if any of the developers somehow prefer that sort of thing. And even if Nintendo wouldn't compensate Square for these sorts of things, it'd still be beneficial for all parties involved to provide IPs for Smash, since simply having the exposure garners more interest for any series. And you could argue that since Cloud's already in the game, Square gets all the benefits of being in Smash, so there's no reason to go above and beyond with things like spirits and music. But if that was true, then Square must think Nintendo's a dick. But that's obviously not the case given how many Final Fantasy games are coming to the Switch in 2019. And I know that one big reason why these games are all coming to the Switch is simply because it's guaranteed money, but to me, all this support comes off as more of an offering to Nintendo than simply wanting to make some extra cash. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the extra income's not a huge bonus for Square, but their timing of how much support they're giving Nintendo is a little too convenient to be completely about money. I know the Switch has been selling out the ass, so it makes sense for any developer to want to put as many games as possible on it in 2019. But what I honestly think happened is once Square saw that Nintendo didn't want to license any extra Final Fantasy content in Smash Ultimate, they probably felt a little left out. And being left out of Smash Ultimate's a pretty big missed opportunity, specifically in this instance for Square, because Nintendo being mad at you is definitely not a good thing with the Switch being as popular as it is. Having your IP in Smash Ultimate's basically like being invited to a birthday party. Aside from being expected to bring a present, i.e. some kind of game to Nintendo platforms, you really just show up, eat cake, and have fun. And if Square really angered Nintendo, then you'd think Cloud wouldn't have been invited at all. However, N-Dog promised that Smash Ultimate would be the biggest party yet, so they didn't really have a choice but to invite him back given the theme. But that doesn't mean they're gonna feed him cake or let him watch my neighbor Terry's live performance. What did Square do to piss Nintendo off so bad? Well, according to my anonymous source who I'm gonna expose right now by the name of Yosuke Matsuda, the problem started all the way back in Smash 4 for the Wii U, 3DS, and Sega Neptune. You see, given that Final Fantasy VII was not only a PlayStation 1 exclusive, but also the first Final Fantasy game that gave Nintendo the middle finger, it felt really out of place for Cloud to be inducted into what's in many ways a Nintendo Hall of Fame. So the only logical conclusion as to why Cloud would have been added to Smash 4 is that some kind of deal must have been worked out for the Final Fantasy VII remake to also come to the Nintendo Switch, aka NX as it was known at the time. Otherwise, why would Nintendo promote Cloud when he's got a big game coming to rival consoles? However, a little while after Cloud was already in Smash 4's DLC, Square announced that they pretty much botched the Final Fantasy VII remake and they had to restart it from scratch. And that of course means that Square wasn't going to be able to return the favor to Nintendo for including Cloud in Smash. And even though I commend Square for wanting to remake Final Fantasy VII the right way, hopefully by canning that stupid-ass idea for episodic releases, I can't blame Nintendo for being pissed and only giving Cloud the bare minimum treatment, even though they've been known to delay games themselves. Because Cloud being in Smash 4 really was out of left field, and now there's not going to be any payoff for the foreseeable future. And who knows, maybe Nintendo knows something that we don't, like the game possibly being moved to the PS5 or Xbox 69, thus canceling the Switch version altogether. But now I'm diving way too deep into the rabbit hole, and I know some people are thinking that Nintendo just put Cloud in Smash for fun without expecting anything in return. After all, Joker's a PlayStation exclusive as well. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, just because the teaser for the Persona 5R teaser started with a Sony logo like Crash Team Racing did, doesn't mean that it's going to be exclusive to the PS4. After all, the reveal for something as big as Persona 5 coming to the Switch is going to be shown in a direct, rather than being casually mentioned for half a second before teasing a future announcement. So I'm convinced that Nintendo's at least getting something from Atlus and Sega for putting Joker in Smash Ultimate besides Persona Q2. Aside from Joker though, I'm sure some others are thinking that Snake made it into Brawl despite always snubbing Nintendo consoles in the past aside from Ghost Fable on the Game Boy Color, so it is possible that Nintendo really doesn't want anything in return for having characters in Smash. But as many of you probably already know, Snake's creator Hideo Kojima originally asked for Snake to be in Melee when it was too late to add him in, so in the hopes of having his baby in the next game, he sweet-talked Konami into remaking Metal Gear Solid for the GameCube. And since that game was fantastic, it made sense for Nintendo to put Snake in Smash Brawl, even though Metal Gear Solid 4 was a PS3 exclusive. And besides, I'm sure Nintendo probably figured that there'd be more Metal Gear Solid games in the future, so surely those might come to Nintendo platforms, right? Well, after Konami and Kojima were done using Nintendo, they didn't even bother making a version of Metal Gear Solid 5 for the Wii U. And because of this, Nintendo kicked Snake's Hamburglar monkey ass out of Smash 4. However, thanks to everybody being invited back to Smash Ultimate, Snake was able to sneak his way back in, albeit with a reduced booty thanks to the Phantom Pain's Wii U snub. But unlike Final Fantasy, there's a fair amount of spirits from Metal Gear and even some music that wasn't in Brawl. And that's probably because Metal Gear's Wii U snub was a lot more forgivable than Final Fantasy VII being delayed 5 years. Plus, now that Kojima's gone from Konami and it's impossible to continue the series without him, Metal Gear is officially dead, so it's not like Snake being in Ultimate's gonna promote a game that's exclusive to rival consoles. And yeah, there are those Final Fantasy ports coming to the Switch, which surely makes Nintendo happy given that they're guaranteed to make everybody money, but as far as getting more Square content in Smash, those games were too little too late. And I know some people are gonna bring the fact up that Geno has a spirit and he was made by Square, but he's in the same boat as the Kremlings where Square might have created it, but they don't really own it. I mean, it's not like they could ever put him in a game without Nintendo's permission, but even though Nintendo has beef with Square, I'm sure once all those Final Fantasy games come to the Switch and make everybody a lot of money, that Nintendo's gonna get over it and add a bunch of spirits from the Final Fantasy universe to call it even. Cause after all, making sure the Final Fantasy VII remake's done right wasn't Square being a dick to Nintendo intentionally, it was just them being cool. But not as cool as our badass supporters on Patreon who do a hell of a lot for this channel for as low as $1 a month for fun rewards like Polaroids and loot boxes in the mail. But some people who are equally as legendary as our patrons are the sexy beasts who pick our shirts and coffee mugs up. And remember, if you want to appear in our videos like this fine gentleman right here, then just send us pictures or videos of you rocking the merch. Why do you think Cloud was treated like a bitch in Smash Ultimate though? Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm wrong and want me to die in a grease fire? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, I'll pin whatever I find most entertaining or intriguing. Don't forget to press that subscribe button if you're a sexy beast and haven't already. And if you like and share this video, it really does go a long way to help the channel grow. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.